time we were together, you were telling us that if someone has a painful experience and it's not fully faced or it's avoided, it goes into the unconscious as a fragment. How are we to free ourselves from these fragments of painful and fearful experiences so that the past won't have a grip on us?
How does one free oneself from this conditioning? Yes, sir, that's conditioning. How does is it time to stop? Just a minute, I must stop. How does one free oneself from this conditioning? Just, sir, take that, good enough. Let's take that. How do I free myself from my conditioning of a culture in which I was born, as a Hindu, as a Brahmin, all the rest of it, or a Catholic, Protestant, or a Baptist, and God knows what else. Now, how do I free myself from this vast propaganda? First, I must be aware of it, that I am conditioned. Not somebody tells me that I am conditioned. You understand the difference? If somebody tells me I am hungry, that's something different from actually being hungry. So I must be aware of my conditioning, which means I must be aware of my conditioning not only superficially, but at the deeper levels. That is, I must be aware totally. First of all, to be so aware means that I'm not trying to go beyond the conditioning. You understand? I'm not trying to be free of the conditioning. I must see it as actually it is, not bring in another element which is wanting to be free. You understand? Because that is an escape from actuality. You're following this? So, I must be aware. What does that mean? Aware totally, not partially, of my conditioning as a Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, all the rest of it, communist, and all that. That means my mind must be highly sensitive, mustn't it? Otherwise I can't be aware, can I? Sensitive. That means I must observe very, very closely everything around me. The color, the depth, the quality of people, things around me. And I must also be aware, without any choice, what actually is my conditioning. Can you do that? Not trying to interpret it, not trying to change it, not trying to go beyond it, or try to be free of it, just to be to be totally aware of it. Which means, shall I go into it? Do you want me to go into it? You have time and the energy? Right. Don't clap, sir, don't. It's all right, I'll go on. When you observe a tree, there is, between you and the tree, time and space, isn't there? And there is also knowledge about the tree. right? The knowledge, the botanical knowledge of the tree, the distance between you and the tree, which is time, and the separation which comes through knowledge of the tree, right? Now, to look at that tree without knowledge, without the time quality, which doesn't mean identifying yourself with the tree. You're following this? Now, to do that is to observe a tree so attentively that the boundaries of time doesn't come into it at all. The boundaries of time comes in only when you have knowledge about the tree. You see that? Am I complicating it? Yes, right. Look, sir. Now, wait a minute. I'll bring it nearer. To look at your wife or your friend or your boy, girl, or your man and man, or whatever it is, please don't waste time laughing, it isn't worth it. To look without the image. The image is the past, isn't it? The past which has been put together by thought as nagging, bullying, dominating, insult, the images that one builds about another, the pleasure, the companion, and all that. Now, to look at another without the image, it is the image that separates. Right? It's the image that gives distance, the time. So, the image is the knowledge which you have accumulated as the past. Now, to look without that image, to look at that tree, or the flower, or the cloud, or the wife, or the husband, the boy, and so on, so on, so on, man and man, to look without the image. Now, if you can do that, then you can observe your conditioning totally. And you look at it with a mind that is not spotted by the past, and therefore the mind itself is free of the conditioning. You're following all this? Look, sir, to look at myself, we generally do as an observer looking at the observed. Myself as the observed, and the observer looking at it. The observer is the knowledge, is the past, is the time, the accumulated experiences. He separates himself from the thing observed, right? Now, to look without the observer. And you do this. You do this when you are completely attentive. You know what it means to be attentive? Don't go to school to learn to be attentive. To be attentive here, it means to listen without any interpretation, without any judgment, just to listen. When you are so listening, there is no boundary. There is no you listening. There is only a state of listening. So when you observe your conditioning, The conditioning exists only in the observer, not in the observed. Right? So to look without the observer, without the me, his fears, his anxieties, and all the rest of it. Then you will see, if you would so look, you enter into totally different dimension.